today's matchup. King Zone DragonX. Afreeca Freecs. Beginning of the end. 2018 League of Legends Champions Korea Spring Split.
Welcome back, OGN Legion, to LCK Spring 2018. I know it was an incredibly long break. We apologize, but we have, as a reward for your incredible patience, Afreeca Freecs versus King Zone DragonX. This is the one we've all been waiting for.
This was definitely the one where about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, you would have circled it on the calendar and said, this is supposed to be 16-0 versus 12-0. But then, it's kind of like you'd made great plans, and then something started to fall through, and you thought, maybe I should call back and not cancel all my plans.
Maybe that mini golf course wasn't actually as good as I thought it was. You know, it looked so good from the outside.
That's what happened. You know, King Zone and Afreeca both lost in upsets this week. So now it's really about the other side of the coin. Now it's about one of these previously dominant rosters going 0-2 and potentially opening up SKT, KSV, and other teams like KT to cement their positions above it. So very interesting to see who comes out here. Was it just one and done for King Zone? Was it just a one series where they were able to address all their issues? Or was it the Afreeca Freecs also having significant struggles? Very, very strange, even though largely these two teams have been epically dominant.
Yeah, it's going to be extremely interesting. Of course, if Afreeca Freecs are able to win this one and King Zone don't manage to pick up that extra point, then it will be KT with an opportunity to head into first place, the only team with 8 match wins. But let's start over the side of King Zone DragonX, because it is going to be the group of players that we've come to know and love. Khan back on the top side of the map with Rascal, of course, playing the last match that we saw from this team. Khan actually in solo queue very recently, dumpstering people.
And the thing with Khan, of course, the medical emergency after game one a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
Would have thought, okay, will we even see both these teams at full strength? Good news is Khan will be starting game one, smiling in the booth. Hopefully everything has been addressed, and we'd like to see him at the height of his powers. Had a good game on the gangplank, but wasn't enough to get King Zone over the line. He needs to have his wits around him. He's facing Keen today, another young'un with those great mechanics.
Yeah, of course, one of the players that we likened to Khan as well when Keen sort of made his debut. So excited to see what the Afreeca Freecs are going to be able to throw back, because honestly, they're coming off a pretty horrific loss to Jin Green Wings, who beat them 32 minutes, 37 minutes with over 10,000 gold leads at the end. It wasn't close.
Yeah, that's what I would have said. It wasn't close. They were outpicked, I think, in game one. I love the Talia and Skarner that Jin pulled out. That was a big series for Grace as well, who looked like a star. Even in the bot lane, they were having struggles, getting 2v2 killed. There's a lot of problems for the Afreeca Freecs, but you can, if you right the ship here, say things like, well, it was the first game after the holiday. Well, there were outside factors. Afreeca want to play themselves back into form. But like you say, most recent acid test, most recent game on the Rift, not great.
Well, hopefully it was a wake-up call for both of these teams as we have a look. Utter dominance. The first 3-game series that we've ever seen from King Zone was that most recent matchup against BBQ that they did end up losing, but it was a long, hard-fought slugfest. On the other side, it's not much different for Afreeca.
They definitely stuffed up the got KDA grass for one thing, but
yeah, they did.
If you look at this, Kramer only second behind Bang in terms of KDA, but based on the first series, I guess Bang's jumping up on the 8.7 he was at. Gorilla and Tucson. Tucson, the last series, would have definitely heard his. He is still joint MVP leader. Wants to go 100 points ahead of Deft, who does share 600 or 6 MVPs so far this season.
See whether Deft is going to be able to answer back, of course, playing on our last day of the week against the Jin Green Wings. But
look at
some
stats
Dragons
here.
and Barons stats, Papa.
Predictably, when you're winning, you slay a lot of Dragons. You'll notice that Barons per game is only 1.2 for the side of King Zone. That's because they were playing such short games that there often wasn't 2 Barons spawning in them for them to actually be picked up. They've only given away a half a Baron a game. What's half a Baron, Atlas?
I don't know. Do you get the top half or the bottom half? How long does the bottom half even go?
You get all the stats, but unfortunately only half the duration. Feels bad.
Okay. So we're not talking about the actual variant.
No,
That's
apparently
probably
not.
a good idea.
But we can look at some more stats to compare how dominant these two teams have been. First turret rate, first and second in the league, but a pretty big gulf, 79% to 60%. Win rate with first turret. Predictably, they've done a lot of winning, so
Yeah.
you had a feeling they would have a very high win rate with first turret, both of them. Very high in general. The focus of the turrets, largely for Kingzone, has been bottom. And bottom lane is usually the gold standard for taking turrets, because when you take the bot lane turret, if you have an Ezreal especially, you rotate into mid lane, 2 items can control the map, you unlock your support to roam. Ezreal priority will be very high in this series, and it's just a hyped one. If both these teams are able to correct their mistakes and play even a facsimile of how good they were a couple of weeks ago, we should have epic hype on the Rift.
Yeah, and I actually find it really interesting that they bring up the first turret sort of statistics, because that bottom lane focus is going to be really important, especially in this matchup, because that was one of the ways that BBQ were able to topple the Kings, you know, by heading down towards that bottom side, and Praying Gorilla didn't have as many options. But let's have a look at the top side of the map. The king of the top rise in Keen, 100% every time he picks it up, looking good.
And we've only seen 2 games of the Jace, but you guys knew all about that coming through from Khan.
Yeah.
These 2 guys are separated by 4 damage taken by minute. That's because they're usually the ones...
They both suck at it, too.
Well, it's a good thing to suck
fair.
at. Good thing to suck at, because they're largely on the winning matchups, right? They're largely on the carries. Last time these 2 teams played, though, it was Khan on the Jace against the Gnar coming through from Keen. They haven't necessarily been picking Keen into winning matchups recently, but you could say the same for Khan, who's been on gangplank duty. He's been largely on scaling. I want to see fire with fire. In first series, we got to see the Jax versus the Camille. I'd welcome that here between 2 of our biggest top lane carries in the world.
Yeah, and I also want to see it from Khan sort of proving himself as Kingzone DragonX, of course, the fans well and truly behind them. Former Longzhu, LCK champions, 77% to the 23 of Afreeca Freecs. But I feel like as far as this matchup is concerned, it's so hard to predict exactly where these teams are going to bounce back to after the losses.
Yeah, it's a strange one, just because of the preview this week of both teams wasn't the most kind. So now we want to see which team can bounce back. The ability to bounce back after a loss is not something that was tested for these teams in 5 and 7 sets respectively. But of course, when the best of 5s come around, you need that ability to endure. You don't perfect your way through the gauntlet very often. So the ability to bounce back is the sign of a top team. Longzhu showed it before. Kingzone have the veterans, but it's not like we have rookies on the side of Afreeca Freecs. There's a lot of veteran status on both sides.
Yeah, especially, you know, you look to Spirit and Kuro, 2 players that have been around the traps for such a long time, playing at the tippy top of competition. Spirit, of course, over in China, also being able to prove himself overseas at the same time.
Khan's smiling, so I imagine a lot of fans at home will be hyped for this top lane
looking
matchup.
a little bit like,
Keen's like, oh,
I don't know what's it, Khan. Is he going to play Riven again? Like, oh.
He was calling the hospital. You sure he's right? Doctor's orders?
No. Are you sure he's not right? Are you sure there's something? Please tell me. Please tell me he's still not feeling so well.
I got something to tell you, Atlas. We're going to get ready for picks and bans. We're going to get ready for Kingzone versus Afreeca. First versus third, and there won't be no pirates unless the Zoe can start stealing summoners.
Yeah, I really hope that was Khan's decision as well. It's like, no, guys, I'm not on Gangplank duty this time around. It ain't happening. So Sejuani's going to follow. Just pretty standard bans coming out from everyone thus far. Nothing looking targeted, but there's the Zoe away from BDD. And I actually like that for Kuro, because he was bullied by the Talia coming out of Grace.
We're getting all the bogus champions out of the champion pool. We're going to have some good, honest, clean League of Legends.
Yeah, some real League of Legends.
You got very blokey with it.
Yeah, that's what we do, Papa Smitty.
Oh, yeah, that's... You know,
that's a terrifying accent that I'm never going to do again.
Well, let's see what Kingzone are terrified of. And the Callista's an interesting ban against Kramer. He hasn't played the most of it this season. 3 games on it only. Wonder what this means for Ezreal priority. It feels like the most obvious first pick ever if it's left open. But Ryze also has always had a very big reward for the side of Kingzone. So it's Sejuani banned. I'm looking at Ryze and Ezreal as potential first picks.
See what it is going to be. And the Ezreal also standing out as far as a final ban here for Afreeca. But it is going to be the Kha'Zix. So they're going with a bit of a throwaway ban. Theoretically, leave as many of these 80 carries open as possible.
Insta-lock the
Ryze. And also the Ryze. Hovered for the moment, but it is going to be locked in.
It's so powerful, and Kingzone are really good at playing the Ryze, Gnar, pressure, and 1-3-1 drafts, so they will take the Ryze. What does Afreeca make of this? The Ezreal would be an obvious takeaway from Prey.
Also, you know, the most played for Kramer as well, and has certainly been improving as the season goes on, but Skarner being considered once again, and Spirit also going to lock that one in.
Yeah, we've seen Skarner bans against other junglers like Beyond, but we're seeing the Skarner priority become first rotation.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Skarner's big power is forcing early QSSs and not even requiring a mid lane spot to do that. Malzahar at least is a mid laner that provokes the QSS being picked up, but against a jungler it feels a lot worse. You're definitely liking the cleanse in QSS when you got Skarner and now Varus rolled into the mix.
Setting themselves up for pick potential as Peanut straight onto the Jax. No questions asked.
Hey.
That could be a flex, yes.
Yeah, we got two flexes potentially here. We've had some Rise top from Keen at least, so...
Oh, that's true. Mid-Jax probably, you know. Beat it
We'll pay the lip service until we have more information. Give us more information, Kingzone. Lock in that Ezreal.
Well, I mean, that's a no-brainer.
I'm a prophet.
Yeah, you're amazing. It's like they want to escape the potential ban in the last round. Now the Afreeca Freecs, what do they do to round this one out? Mid laner, Papa Smithy, what do you reckon?
I wonder if they want Gnar. Feels like Gnar is a sort of champion that's likely to get banned away. Camille also very, very powerful. So where Gnar and Camille fall in this draft interests me a lot.
I do like the Camille because they've set themselves up for a pretty amazing pick composition to start.
If you take Gnar, you can just ban Jace and feel pretty good about not leaving that open.
I feel like banning Jace is a good idea anyway.
See how they make sense of it. They're going to just lock in the... I feel like bot lane for all ages, the Varus and Braum, about as safe can be. The pick comp is terrifying on the side of Afreeca Freecs already.
Oh yeah,
and
starting from level 1. This is really scary.
But isn't it fun that we have, you know, what is probably going to be a very strong 1-3-1 with Rise, and let's say Gnar, for example, on the side of Kingzone, and then the kind of frighting nature of having a Skarner with suppression and also pick power. So pick comp versus a 1-3-1 traditionally leads to a very tense game, a lot of jump scares when Skarners come out of the darkness. We're looking at the bans here. They're banning away Engage, so no Ezreal Alistair, another one of our standard bot lanes.
Yep, and of course one of Gorilla's most amazing champions, the Alistair, so getting that out of his wheelhouse is a good idea. Talia away from Crow, understandable as well, but the Tahm Kench going to be the third best melee support taken away, and we're looking at Taric, aren't we?
The first best at stopping a pick comp, though, so...
Yeah, true.
That's banned away, so Braum and Tahm Kench are kind of the best champions to avoid a pick comp, and both of them have been accounted for. Double mid lane ban towards Afreeca. That means we will not be seeing Kuro's Azir, which draws almost as much respect as BDD's Azir these days.
Yeah.
Been a great
Interesting
pick for
to
him.
say it now, given his history on the champion. Kramer, what does he take away? Wow,
Look at this.
Syndra.
On 8.3, we see Syndra come in trying to find lane control against a Rise. Will probably provoke a more defensive build from the Rise as well. That is a surprise. We have seen very little Syndra this season. Our last person to play it was Crown, I believe, for KSV.
We've had mixed results as well. I mean, I think that we've had maybe 2 or something like that.
I think they're both losses.
Yeah, hasn't necessarily inspired very much confidence, but the Taric that we were talking about, pretty understandable stuff here from Kingzone. Gorilla was the one that debuted the new Soraka-style Taric.
They really need Engage to complement the Taric, because as you look right now, very low on the Engage, now only Scion for Engage, so lane priority 1-3-1 is powerful. This is basically Rise in a side lane, Scion on a side lane, very hard to kill either of them, and 2-item Ezreal. So this is the ultra comfort for Kingzone. But while they have lane priority, initiation very low, so objective play has to be on point. This team can kind of basically only fight with control over a Baron or a Drake and peeling back. Because when they chase, things are hard. Meanwhile, Afreeca have about the most fearsome pick comp ever. I feel like if Kingzone loses map control, can't take 1-3-1s, they lose a Baron, for example, if they just fall behind and don't have the gold to stack up to Afreeca, how do you ever advance your position on the map when literally everyone on Afreeca can initiate?
Yeah, the most ridiculous amount of long-range CC into the incredible lockdown of the Impale. Like, everything about Afreeca's composition is perfect for creating these picks.
But everything about top lane is potato. Somehow, in Khan versus Keen, we got Ornn versus New Age Ornn, Ornn versus Saya.
How did this happen? We just had Linderong versus Antara, and that was the exciting matchup. What is happening? What is it with the opposite days that have been happening recently, Papa Smithy? I don't know. Hopefully we can actually get some damage in here. Is it going to be a Comet Scion?
The greatest 2 top lane carries in the world. Scion versus Ornn. Sorry, guys.
Same colorway as well, which is just the best, you know? They never interact with each other. They just stand up there killing creeps.
Maybe they'll defy expectation as Kuro has surprised us, bringing back the Syndra that has been very low priority, maybe 8.4. We'll see a bit more of it. No surprises in the bot lane. Afreeca Freecs have kind of narrowed the ways Kingzone can win, but let's see if Kingzone's approach to the game that has been very passive in recent series can be adjusted, because to me, that's the thing I want to see most from Kingzone.
Yeah, a bit of an update. 2 Syndra games so far in the LCK. It's 1-1.
1-1
so far. So that's it. It wasn't necessarily standout.
No.
You have to admit that. But guys, we've got pick versus split push as Kingzone, DragonX, and Afreeca both try and bounce back. Let's see if they can do it as we head onto the Rift. Here we are, guys. Oh, the Braum is going to land the Winter Spikes. Tucson heads forward, but not enough slows there onto Prey to grab anything. Always scary crossing the river when there's a Braum on the opposing side.
Very often we don't get any sort of interactive level 1s, though. So with Braum, the one champion that can provoke that.
As we check out the crowd, lots of people turning up for this one. You would have thought SKT would bring the most crowd. Not anymore, Papa Smithy. This one is a much bigger one.
I believe they were celebrating Peanut's 4th anniversary as a pro player.
Yeah.
It's been around since 2015 spring.
Man, I remember when he was new. We're getting old, Papa Smithy. 4 years.
What's old is new. What's new is old. As we get somehow Potato Tank top lane between Khan and Keen.
Yeah. Keen and Khan, and they can't do any damage to each other. I'm not keen for it, Papa Smithy. It's just the worst. Everything about it just makes me upset.
But maybe we'll find action somewhere else. That's the hope here.
Potentially in the mid lane.
So the theory behind Kingzone's draft is a lot about lane priority. It feels like earlier in the season this would have been Gnar and Ryze, but now the Scion is thrown in there. Has priority over basically every champion.
So it was a little bit cute, actually, as Kuro headed towards the bottom side of the map just to see whether Khan was going to turn up for the cheese.
And Tucson walked up to the brush just to slow Ezreal getting to lane, to stop Ezreal from getting level 2 first. Because, of course, Ezreal, if he gets to lane first, just starts spamming Q off cooldown, uses the Rising Spell Force, the Q, just to have high attack speed from the passive, and thus be able to push in for a level 2. Just a lane control play there from Afreeca.
Yep, just bullying them out.
But Kingzone will have lane priority in top and mid lane if the items are hit on point and there isn't any ganks. The solo kill potential for the Syndra is pretty low.
Why are we looking at the top lane?
Because, you know, it's Khan versus Keen. This is the featured matchup.
Why do they do it to us? Why do they do it to us?
It is Unsealed Spellbook on both mid laners. So if you're wondering what Kuro is running, he is going to be unsealed for this game. Predator Skarner is now the norm here in Korea.
Yep, Spirit going to be racing around. BDD winning this trade in the mid lane, utilizing that shield to avoid all of the minion damage.
And in response to the top lane tanks, good news, Tucson's got the Unsealed Spellbook to fissure people to death in the mid lane.
Thinks he's back on 8.2. But I'm excited about it. Gorilla not going to be able to follow there, so Afreeca Freecs looking to set themselves up. If they do have advantages, we know the pick compositions certainly very, very good at playing from ahead because you can deny all that vision, so you don't need as many people to be able to invade the enemy jungle. Spirit going to begin doing that already.
5 biscuits popped into the inventories. You almost never saw Biscuiteer when you had to choose between the magical footwear and the Biscuiteer rune, but now the forced choice between the stopwatch and the free boots does mean that kind of hype that we get to see a bit more Biscuiteer. The opportunity cost of running it was too high before when you had those really high power runes, but now Biscuiteer is a little bit more achievable.
Yep, Khan being frustrating here towards the top side of the map, but don't worry, he's not going to die as BDD misses that last Q and Kuro goes down very, very low. Still winning in the farm. As BDD has a few more minions to collect, but not a lot of mana on both of these mid laners. Probably looking to try and fish themselves back as BDD may actually have to flash here as Spirit. He's booking it. He's going to be able to land the E. Gets himself the shield from the passive, and BDD is going to be okay. Holds on to the flash. And the heal.
Not conserving his summoners there with the threat of level 6 Skarner coming in the next 2 to 3 minutes. It's very important, and this is all about getting the right back timing. Very difficult to get first push against a Ryze because he takes minion dematerializer and just wants to go for an early shot on the tier. The tier is going to be a little bit delayed here, and Syndra gets a decent back. First back on the Lost Chapter Usually it's Tier versus Doran's ring when a Rise is involved, just because the shop is so early, but that's been denied from BDD this game.
Yeah, actually cancelled out, as you saw from Spirit. So nice work, the Afreeca Freecs. Spirit being proactive in this early game is going to be important. And getting done what they need to do.
And Spirit being proactive is something we didn't really see in their earlier series.
Yeah.
This week against Jinair, felt like Umti and Grace as a duo had his number. And early in the season, before winning consecutive games became the norm for Afreeca, it felt like whenever Spirit got priority, the team looked great, and whenever he fell behind as this new age shot caller for the team, they weren't able to find the same success, especially in the early game. They have been able to drag games super late. You remember his first Skarner game where they were behind for the first 35 minutes against Rocks Tigers, then turned it around. Feels like from ahead, Afreeca have been very impressive when it comes to the jungle role, so Spirit visiting lanes, getting a bit of an impact, getting an early Infernal is good signs for Afreeca.
Bad signs, though, is that Spirit didn't get the LCS memo, so he's going to be maxing the queue this time around. Once again, last time we saw him on the Skarner was also the same. Wants to just be a little bit more of a battle Scorpion.
Does mean you can skirmish stronger, of course, because the queue stacks up over the extended trades with champions. Makes you a bit faster doing the Raptors, but there's so much extra damage on hit applied to the E, the Fracture, that now I'm a big fan of the E, but it seems in Korea largely the groupthink is to stick with the Q.
See how Spirit is going to be able to utilize it. A bit of extra damage could be important as Keen. Bellow's Breath not going to save him enough from that massive, devastating blow.
But he's going to go back and buy, so nothing to be hyped about there, unfortunately, Atlas.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to try and talk about it in some way, Like, I was being facetious earlier on. Maybe that's getting boring.
Well, your job this game is to shout about something involved in a 1v1 trade between Sion and Orin.
I could do that anytime.
I'm leaving it to you. You're a professional caster, a very tenured one, so you get to decide when you do it. I'll be ready on hand to help you out.
Speaking of being facetious, thanks for that one, Papa Smithy. Okay, Afreeca Freecs still playing back here at the moment, but a lot of deep vision, especially on the bottom side. See whether that means Spirit's going to be paying some attention down there. See, Afreeca Freecs actually trying to get some work done here. Kramer, one more auto attack, but really good timing on the arcane shift from Prey. Disengages completely, and Tucson loses a lot of his health bar. Still, whole bunch of pots and a biscuit, so not too much to worry about.
Talked about the weaknesses of Afreeca from behind, specifically around kind of Spirit struggles to reinvigorate the lineup last time against Jina. We should talk about Kingzone and the loss to BBQ, an even bigger upset. Big thing there was we actually saw a jungler target Praying Gorilla in the early game, target the fact that Peanut never jungles around bot side with any reliability. Same story with Cuz in summer season last year, and thus it was actually just repeated ganks bot lane by Trick that got them big advantage. 5 deaths in the laning phase, 0-5 and 0 for Praying Gorilla in game 1 of that series. Haven't seen the first ultimate yet, the first Impale from Spirit, but I wonder if they'll recreate that and look for some ganks bot side.
It felt like exactly how Trick was able to orchestrate it as well, if we remember his champion pool from that particular series. So I like that you brought it up. Kingzone probably having a bit of PSD from the situation as Gorilla's doing his best to hold onto this minion wave. Not going to be able to. Spray goes back, does have his Tier, as well as the Sheen, and a cheeky longsword. I wonder whether that means we're going to see another Trinity Force Ezreal today, or whether he's just trying to maximize what he can get out as far as stats on his first back.
And Frey has been one of the most inflexible Ezreals. He is a big fan of the Iceborne Gauntlet and the very early 2-item control build. But my impression here is he thinks they need to fight early. They can't afford to lose out in vision. They don't want to lose the Drake either.
Oh, Tucson knows exactly what Prey is trying to do. True Shot Barrage going to be blocked out as well as the Mystic Shot.
But we've already mentioned it during Champions Day. If you fall behind in terms of map control on this 1-3-1 draft from Kingzone with very little engage, short of Sion either diving in with his face or being in range of a decimating smash, it's very hard to force. And this team fights very well around objectives, kiting back defensively. When they have control wards, they can make things happen around objectives. But in a long lane, Kingzone will find it a big struggle to actually force fights against an ultra pick comp like Afreeca Freecs. Going for early power, being able to fight early is a big need, as it's going to be a mid lane roam.
Yep, choo-choo train, and Kuro is going to get stunned by the ultimate, but does get a decent E to stop any further aggression, and Khan's just going to wander his way back.
Yeah, the damage did register there. It didn't look like any real duration stun, though.
Yeah, it was weird, because, you know, the cleanse was actually there, but Kuro didn't need to use it.
I think maybe it was just the shockwave of damage. We'll get a replay perhaps later on, but no harm, no foul. Chunking out Kuro is just fine by the perspective of BDD.
Looking to try and get some control, at least one of these lanes. Kingzone are going to be able to shove back on the bottom side. Reclaimed control on the bottom side of the map, so that's a great news story for them. More vision control that you can have as a pick comp. We've spoken about this so many times because, you know, MVP last year made us talk about pick comps all the time. Just is going to be a case of get vision, get picks, win the game for Afreeca.
Kind of the flow of the game, or the expected flow of the game, I should say, is that pre-item completions, pre-one finished first item, I think Kingzone have the natural laning advantages in top and mid. When one item comes in, when we see Rageblade on Kramer, when we see likely to be the Morellonomicon on the Syndra, then things change. So for now, giving up vision is fine from the side of Afreeca if they can put it down at the 15 to 20 minute mark. So they kind of took an objective against the clock. They did take the Infernal, which was a big surprise probably to Kingzone. You saw Prey just face-checking it and being dismayed to see it go down. This is the stage where Kingzone should be picking up every objective basically for free, and maybe the only one they'll be able to claim is going to be the Rift Herald.
Yeah, and saying that Kingzone are going to pick up objectives for free is actually a weird thing to do when they've got 3 tiers to stack on first back. On the bottom side, it's probably the most sad that it's been for a team composition thus far in the LCK this year.
Let's bot lane be super non-interactive with the Taric heal spam and the Ezreal safety in lane. So makes sense. Of course, the builds are very standard for all the champions, but it's really about the picks, really about just how powerful Sion is in the top lane, how safe Ryze in the mid lane, going for Merc Treads already. No kill pressure onto them. Happy to just control the waves for now. But yeah, before items are completed, that's where their strength is pretty undeniable. But 1-2 items, some control wards down, and face-checking will mean doom for the side of Kingzone.
Yeah. Feeling pretty good to be an Afreeca Freecs fan as this game just continues to move forward. Spirit actually ahead as far as clearing out these camps is concerned, but Peanut gets himself back to base. Cinderhulk is done, and he's building towards the Trinity Force. So not going to be our full tank Jax that we've seen from a few players in the LCK so far this year.
I guess Sion to face check for vision. They have Taric as well, so they're not a squishy line. It's not Jace top lane where it'd really be a struggle if they didn't have a full tank Jax to actually contest for vision. Then again, with this much pick CC, how tanky is tanky enough? Is a question that we might find out later. We actually saw an interesting interaction before where the cube popping up actually interrupted the decimating smash as it was full channel.
See what Keeney's going to be able to get done here. You can see actually the lane's going back a little bit in the Ornn's favor as Khan has to cancel his back if he wants to pick up the next wave of minions.
Bellows Breath makes 5 points of Bellows Breath, makes trading very easy for the Ornn. No damage nerfs on patch 8.3, so still in a great spot there.
Well, Kingzone finally getting the push out here as they look to try and clear some of this vision. A couple of deep control wards, but more over Afreeca's side. Kingzone do not want to venture at the moment because there is a level 9 Skarner roaming the Rift. Oh, BDD, some finesse as he just avoids as much of these orbs as possible.
Early game with fairly strong lanes in every scenario. It's pretty non-interactive. We're waiting for...
It's so even as well. I mean, everyone's so close.
But it can snowball super hard both ways because of the different identities we talked about in Champion Select. The 1-3-1 versus the pick comp that just wants to control vision. So for Kingzone now, it's largely about getting enough items onto their mid laner, maybe Abyssal Mask, work towards a Seraph's Embrace, and then a deep teleport, a turret going down, and forcing the enemy team to react. That's what's happening here for Kingzone. Whereas for Afreeca, one-item power spikes, the Rage Blade's completed, the Morellonomicon is completed. Now I want to see just a consolidation of control wards, and then look for the pile-in, because the pile-in onto one target with the amount of suppression and damage they can put out should guarantee some kills and some objective control.
See Tucson actually switching over to the teleport just to make sure that he's back, putting on pressure as quickly as possible. Rageblade done for Kramer as well.
Trinity Force completed for Prey, so
we
spotted the longsword and filled in the rest. Doesn't mean he can start to fight early. And again, it's so weird to say, but it does feel like the first time we see something approaching a team fight, maybe even a 3v3, but just because of what vision means, just because game plans are so polarizing between the two, the amount of snowball we expect after the first seesaw, either to Kingzone or Afreeca, should decide the majority of the game.
Well, Peanut actually a lot of respect given. The Syndra is moving on over. That scat of the week. He's going to find BDD, but he's just going to say, oh, nice love tap. That was nice. I've got a pretty cape, though, so I'm going to be A-okay. Double Abyssal Mask. Doesn't feel super great if Khan and BDD are going to be in the same fights together, but
I don't think they want to be Atlas. I think they're all about the split push, so while the overlapping auras is feels bad, man, for the actual 5v5, I think for how they want to play out this game, try and outnumber the opponent, Realm Warp, and use the ultimate from Sion for gap close. Not going to be as relevant.
Well, in the bottom lane, Gorilla in a lot of trouble. Concussive blows goes down, and
dead.
that's first blood. All too easy for Kramer, who stacks up the Rage Blade, so much damage. Good dodge of the Winter's Bite coming in from Peanut, and Kramer all alone, but he's just battling Prey. Hail of Arrows has to be flashed away from, and Prey. Arcane Shift comes back up, but Kramer, is he going to be alive? Yes, he is. As Kuro turns up, Spirit's there as well. The Crystalline Exoskeleton, so much movement speed with the Predator there as well.
Just too easy, like you say, to bulldoze down the first kill. No Cosmic Radiance could even be channeled. Top laners held accountable, so no one teleported in. Kill goes to Afreeca. Not really anything more to speak about. A trade of summoners on both sides. Maybe more consequential for Kramer than it is for Prey, but everyone backs away. A kill in the pocket, a return to the game plan, and the control wards and vision will start sticking for Afreeca Freecs.
Yeah, and that's such scary news for Kingzone fans. That's exactly what the Afreeca Freecs comp wants to do. Get the vision down, know exactly where Kingzone are, and pick them off whenever they're out of position. So hard to do that unless you have control, and that's exactly what they're setting themselves up for. 1,000 gold is going to be the lead, but they have the Infernal Drake. First Blood gives bottom lane control to the Afreeca Freecs. That is now a Negatron Cloak coming in towards that Wit's End for Kramer.
Didn't mention, but Glacial Augment onto Khan, so no Comet on the Scion this time. All about the stacking slow on auto attacks up to about 60% as the game goes on. 65, maybe mistaken there. So just a control choice. No Comet this time from the Scion. Otherwise, the rune's pretty much as standard can be. It is a melee matchup, so for once we do not see an Ignite to teleport change on the Orin. Going for Grasp with the Undying because they're going to get the extended trades to actually realistically get off the auto. That never happens against an Art.
Both of them now equipped with their masks as well, as you can imagine that Khan's going to finish his Merc Treads and go towards his Frozen Heart. But the Glacial Shroud already there for King.
Question we should raise that we talked about in the first series is, when did the QSSs come against the Skarner? The answer for Rox Tigers were they never came, and then eventually that ended up being a pretty heavy cost. If you can actually set up the 1-3-1 and have Taric and Ezreal in the mid lane, maybe your side lanes are tanky enough that it doesn't matter. But notice that it is a Rod of Ages completed by BDD.
Yeah, I just did.
He's sitting on a Negatron for now, just for the laning phase, hoping to not have to actually spend all of the gold onto the Abyssal Mask early. So for now, QSS is a long way away. How do you contest Vision? Items are in a pretty good spot for Afreeca. So very interesting to see how Kingzone approach any of these skirmishes.
Yeah, Kuro in a great spot as well for the start of this skirmish as well at 18 minutes into the game. Cosmic Radiance comes down as the Impale is there. It's going to save Gorilla's life for the moment, but fantastic Unbreakable just denies the ultimate. First kill does come in for Kingzone, but you've got Kramer. He's in the backline trying to do what he can, but Khan's going to just destroy him. Spirit now running for the hills. BDD picks it up, and Kingzone just too good in a team fight. BDD is going to lock down Kuro, but probably not going to be able to get too much back. But that means that the Dragon will go to Kingzone, and they'll just assert their dominance on the map.
It felt like Afreeca just wanted to kill the closest target, but by the time the Cosmic Radiance had armed, they didn't get true value out of the Skarner ultimate. Kuro never even got a rotation of spells off in the fight. Did not use the ultimate there, the Unleashed Power. Watch the replay. It's a really good timing on the Cosmic Radiance before the suppression actually hits. So Taric doesn't die instantly, and from there, you'll notice that Kuro's in the backline, not able to get a full rotation of spells off. Then Spirit is easy to turn on. Keen's out of position. There's no damage from the Syndra. It wasn't front to back, and it wasn't actually profiting off of strong engage. So Kingzone, in the end, actually stand out and take the fight.
Yeah, absolutely exceptional teleport timing from Khan. You can see Keen just didn't do anything. He got an Ornn ultimate across, but that was about it. Shout out to Tucson for a good Glacial Prison, but that's about all the props we can give to the Afreeca Freecs in that last fight. And as a result, we got Boots of Lucidity as well as the Manamune done for Prey. He's feeling phenomenal. QSS now completed for BDD. That will be the next item for the Ezreal as well, you have to imagine.
Interesting. He sold the Negatron and turned it into a QSS, all things considered. So a bit of gold loss, but just Negatron magic resist for magic resist in lane to not die to a 1 burst from Syndra.
I respect it. As I've got a choo-choo train as an escape.
Some solid drifting.
Yeah. Ooh, hugging the walls. Okay, that was actually a 2-pronged attack. I like it. I'm going to escape these baddies up here and try and attack this baddie down here.
No one can ever call Khan a coward.
No, absolutely not. He had to even prove it by escaping a fight into another fight.
He was just choosing a better place to fight.
Yeah. Yeah, 1v2. That's not as fun. Okay. The Blue Sentinel's just going to be thrown away. It's going to lose its patience there as well as he sprints home. Okay, no. he just wanted to jog to make sure he was back to the right spot as Peanut gets himself out of the way. That Dark Sphere probably should have landed, to be honest. I feel like Kuro was robbed on that one, but Peanut does leap strike away.
Return to ever-entertaining top lane matchup.
Why are we back here? There's people running around in the jungle and doing fun stuff. Oh, look at them breathing at each other. Oh, I got a big smash.
It's a decimating smash max, actually. He went Q into W, so only 1 point in Roll of the Slayer.
Interesting.
With
Would
no
you say
comet
that's
being picked up.
better for wave clear, or Roar of the Slayer is actually pretty good when they're conga lining towards you, isn't it?
It is really good for pushing the minion wave and harassing it down as it approaches, because you basically hit it as it's coming in a single file before it fans out to the standard wave clear adjustment. And also, you don't get the full value out of the armor shred, which is also a really nice thing about Roar of the Slayer. But just a choice here. When you're not going Comet, you're less incentivized to max Roar of the Slayer first, but first time I'm seeing it, at least.
Well, first turret. Looking for it in the mid lane here, and if Kingzone grab it, we know statistically, if they get the mid lane turret first, it means 100% win rate. That being said, they went into this week with pretty much a 100% win rate as it was. KSV just stealing one at the beginning of the season, so that's weird statistics to talk about. Decimating Smash actually doing some work onto Keen. But now that things like Frozen Hearts are almost completed, it's just going to be continuation of the wet noodle.
Good news for Afreeca is even though they've traded down in a couple of fights, we still don't see the ideal lane assignment for Kingzone. We don't see side lane rise yet, even though the Rod of Ages and the QSS are complete. It's still standard lanes, which I think suits Afreeca just fine. A slightly more flexible comp than what they're facing.
Yep, Righteous Glory done for Spirit though, so he's got both of his speed boosts that he wants. Haven't really seen too much from Spirit so far. None of the impales that you generally want to talk about as far as starting off skirmishes the right way, but Afreeca Freecs, after what was a 1,000 gold lead after that lost team fight, have since come back to pretty much parity as far as the gold.
2,500, or I should say 2,600 spent on QSSs, so...
Yeah, true. Probably a lead in battle stats.
In terms of battle stats, like you say, a slight lead to Afreeca, but nothing to write home about just yet. I imagine Gorilla will continue to be the person that gets pulled in by the suppression. Kill the Taric before you get the ideal Cosmic Radiance off is often the way you go. That's just a return to lane ultimate, in case you're wondering.
Yeah, just taking the KTX, as we would say here in Korea, back to
wants to interrupt the back.
Yeah, nice. It does stop the back as well. Khan, he is just multifaceted with these ultimates, isn't he? Escapes, starts fights,
turns out
minion waves,
if you can play Jace
backs.
perfectly, probably can play Sion as well.
Are you saying that Sion is a relatively easy champion to play, Bob Smooth?
I mean, I'm gaining Elo with him, so that tells you everything you need to know.
Hey, you're quite a good player. If I was gaining Elo with him,
I'm willing to commit
be
to being
problem.
a player.
I remember. Pro Papa Smithy with his fiddlesticks.
2012 was a long time ago, Atlas. Fiddlesticks got buffed on patch 8.4.
Ooh, are you coming back?
I'm thinking
We're
about
making
it.
a comeback.
Making a cheeky comeback.
All right, so it's going to be Brendan, Achilles, and I to take the analysis. We got this. Good luck in your future endeavors. Okay, Peanut and Spirit going to meet each other. Thankfully. Need something to save us from there. But
And
Kingzone have
Peanut's
pulled
got
that
his
ahead
big
again.
Trinity Force going before anything's really happened, so that's happy.
Yeah.
Fun thing about that is that now Peanut can also side lane very well. We often see Jax in the late game just go in a side lane, and if he has 2-3 items alongside Trinity Force, he just jumps on an AD carry if they try to defend.
Yeah, and also over Peanut's career as well. He's been, no matter what champion he's been on, honestly moving towards side lanes and trying to clear things out. His Nidalee was one that always had a ludicrous amount of farm by the end of games, oftentimes.
We're in a very much the pivot point of the game. It's coming a little bit later than we might have expected. We're at 25 minutes and still items are largely equal between the sides.
Yep, but double Trinity Forces, and we've almost got a stacked Rod of Ages. It's getting to the time where Kingzone probably want to start a fight, given what they have available to them. The Afreeca Freecs setting themselves up, trying to find this Ocean Drake, and they do have the Crystal Spire. Have to be careful of Spirit. If they engage, there it is. Speaking of which, he's going to flash into the Impale. Cosmic Radiance, is it going to come down in time? No, it's not. Gorilla is going to fall, but Kuro, he's going to suffer the same fate. Peanut grabs one. Call the Forge God, gets a decent knock-up for Prey. He's untouched. Toussaint's going to go down. BDD is doing disgusting things in the front line. It's a double for the Scion, who is just a slab of meat in this battle, and that is an ace. Afreeca are wiped, and that's going to be first turret, maybe even just a Baron for Kingzone.
Yeah, turning onto the Baron, certainly here, Atlas. The Cosmic Radiance couldn't arm fast enough to save the Taric, but it does allow the front line to just delete Syndra, who gets no value whatsoever. The Void Stuff can't come early enough. For Kuro, just chased down in the 5v5. The mid lane turret falls down to minions. The Baron goes to Kingzone, and the first big snowball goes the way of Kingzone DragonX.
Yeah, let's have a look at it again, though, Papa, because I don't know.
Remember this low engage from Kingzone. Afreeca does the hard work for them. Gorilla's dead, but then BDD gets into the backline. So does the Jax. Trinity Force completed. Kuro's dead, and now it's only one threat. It's only Kramer, and the conga line of tanks one by one means that he might be kiting back, but Jax in the backline, Scion's in the backline. They can chase in, and we're seeing the flexibility of Ezreal, in that Ezreal was under no pressure once the fight had really started getting going. When the Syndra was dead, remember, we've seen basically no ultimate. I don't know if we've ever even seen the R button pressed by Kuro this game. With no threat there, he walks forward, so does the rest of the team, and goodbye, Afreeca Freecs.
Yeah, there was no ultimate that was consequential. I think that BDD actually used his stopwatch to get himself out of any threat of that unleashed power. So Afreeca Freecs not finding the fights when, honestly, I felt like they were positioned in an okay way. Keen got a really good call of the Forge God to get the knockups in the places that they needed to. The BDD avoided that one. As soon as he got the focus, uses the stopwatch, and then Prey, like you said, completely untouched. Support Ezreal in the backline, 0-0 and 8.
They just have been unable, Afreeca, to get a pick, because it's always been a true fight that they're initiating. Okay, Kingzone's biggest problem is they don't have any true initiation. The fight is coming to them. The Cosmic Radiance is still getting massive value, and then from there, we're not seeing any value out of the unstoppable, out of the Syndra ultimate or the Impale. Nothing is coming from either of those, and that's a big problem for Afreeca.
Yeah, and Spirit has been flashing into these Impales as well. They've been the one dictating these fights, which should be what Afreeca Freecs want to do. With pick comps like this, you need to be proactive to make stuff happen, because the idea is you pick people off. Thankfully now Kuro does have the 3 items that he really wants at the start of this game, but I just don't know whether it's going to be enough to keep up with what Kingzone have, because BDD's just gigantic.
And it's a 1-3-1 comp with Baron. They were always strongest in the 1-3-1. That was a wave clear ultimate, I guess.
Real bad. QSS Arcane Shift going to get Prey out of the way. And Peanut's a little bit too dazzling on his sporting event that we're not going to mention, Skim.
Kramer has got the link from the Zeke's Convergent, which was a rush from Toussaint. Another reason you're incentivized to use your ult very early. We always see this on Rakan for initiation, because it's Braum who largely uses ult for peel. It's a little bit less ideal to get maximum value out of the Zeke's Convergence. It's down now. They continue to push up. 1-3-1. Really nothing they can do. Kuro's exposed, trying to side lane as a Syndra. We talk about why Orianna's not seen because of that struggle in side laning. Syndra's probably that to the nth degree.
Yeah,
no
BDD
flash
knows
up.
exactly what that pain is as well, given his recent loss on the Orianna. Peanut going to get stunned, but just straight up doesn't care. He's got a QSS as well. We've got 3 of them so far. You won't see Khan getting one, because if he gets CC'd, he's probably going to be pretty happy about it. Someone wasted CC on the Scion. Tower is going to fall down too soon. Not enough unbreakables to stop that one from falling.
And it's just a dream for Kingzone. Keep them in the side lanes forever. Never even go for a 5v5 until the objective is the Nexus. It is the dream here for a comp with Sion and Ryze. It's a very different Ryze and Gnar, but it's still the Korean standard rotational 1-3-1. So powerful when used by a top team. Kingzone fighting to show that they still are after losing to BBQ. The first impression is good.
Yeah, this would have been the test for Kingzone as well, as what they would have been thinking about over the long break was the fact that they were up against Afreeca. You have to imagine that they would be a little bit more prepared for this series and were probably taken a bit by surprise from the power of BBQ earlier on. Of course, Tempt playing like an absolute beast, so definitely props to BBQ for how they performed in that series.
It's always good when we have 10 teams able to give you a reality check if you try to look past them.
Yeah.
Like you say, you do index your prep on what was supposed to be a 16-0 versus 12-0 game, 28 games unbroken. That was broken by two teams respectively. But now that that's happened, if they did in fact index all their prep for this series, so far you have to love what they're doing. Whereas for Afreeca, the big wild card was the Syndra. Even if it was 1-1, haven't been convinced by the Syndra in either of the performances, and here we've seen absolutely no value from the Syndra.
Durham's Fist is now done here for Peanut as well, so I think he is going split pushing Jax. The Titanic Hydra could be the option next. He's got Baron coming up in a few minutes' time. We'll see whether Afreeca can actually get some vision around there. You can see there's a couple of cheeky wards, but not too deep towards that Baron pit. They're going to have to start thinking about it. Couple of minutes now. Kingzone in complete and utter control. And what have we said? Pick comp falls behind, stays behind. A lot of the time.
And who do you get the emergency pick on with? Triple.
Yeah, QSS.
Taric is just going to stand behind Ezreal, which is not usually what you see from a Taric, but...
Also, it just seems like if Gorilla dies, they win a team fight. So,
I mean, if
Gorilla's
he dies,
probably happy.
If he doesn't even get to use the ultimate, I guess you might win. But
Yeah, maybe.
it's not as squishy as you would want for that to happen. They're looking for a big invade here. Prey, as you can see, basically frontlining.
Yeah, Blade of the Ruined King. I was just expecting the Arcane Shift straight over there, but decides not to. That would have been probably a little bit too gung-ho.
What's happening between these two, Atlas?
I don't care! It's not the time. It's not the time, okay? Gonna get hyped about a Sion Ornn fight.
I said
but that was not the
1v1.
fight.
Is there going to be a 1v1 again in this game? You don't know.
It might be. Hope not.
I'm going to keep giving you really high energy throws when Sion versus Ornn are on the screen and see how you react to it.
I like how we're just talking about casting mechanics now.
What would you prefer we talk about?
This tower going down! Kingzone are going to be able to grab the inner turret towards the bottom side. Only one more remaining. That is the top lane. That's organically shoving towards Afreeca, I believe. If we're playing count the dots on the minimap. A whole group of backs that is setting up for the Baron. 30 seconds to go. Kramer says that was rude.
And Afreeca just want to press R on one person. That's their dream right now.
Yeah.
Theoretically, if you impale and then Varus ults, you'll probably get him with one of the abilities.
I feel like if Kuro manages to press R on the target at the same time, that probably feels good too.
I mean, don't worry about getting the spheres. Just press the R.
Yeah,
So
just press R. Yeah.
if he has ultimate hat, he's in a really bad way this game. He hasn't been pressing the R.
Papa, it was Asterix Gauge.
Yeah.
I'm really upset.
What did you think it was going to be?
I wanted a Titanic.
Oh, I mean, that's a later item.
Yeah.
And look at this, Zarot Portal actually going to be, sorry, Banner of Command, I should say,
Yeah.
is going to be complete by Khan. More magic resist.
Preparing for when the Baron buffs get empowered.
It's
So
a-
Banner of Command is going to be redonkulous.
There isn't a lot of physical damage wave clear. It is Rage Blade Wits End on hit build from the Varus. So when it comes to ways to deal with that, the Bellows Breath is going to be very sad.
Yeah. Interesting from Khan. Spray's going to help him out. Khan doesn't do a whole lot of damage. He's just going to decimatingly try and smash this dragon to death. Clouds fall down pretty fast though, and Kingzone, no pressure on them whatsoever. Baron has respawned, but look at all the vision control. Even just Gorilla playing, you know, keep out.
And he's got his
On the
Sash,
river
he's
is
got his
fine.
Snowball QSS as well.
Oh, the Quadra QSS.
But you know what the scariest thing is?
Khan still got his stopwatch.
You deduct 5,200 gold worth of QSS. Let's call that junk, even though there's magic resist that will help.
Yep.
They're still ahead in gold by a bit.
By about 5,000.
Yep.
Doesn't feel great.
No. Skarner is so powerful. That's the reason why you see the champion provokes suboptimal itemization for max damage. When you can get both, lets you know that Skarner plan went awry, and not in any huge ways, right? There wasn't a lot of huge action in this game, but 2 initiations from the Skarner actually brought about 2 wins for Kingzone, and from there the game has been decided by the rotational play that the Scion and Ryze 1-3-1 comp always wanted to do.
Yeah. Now Afreeca getting scared to move even into their jungle as Tucson does pick up the True Shot Barrage, getting back into form.
Double control ward mid lane.
Oh, beautiful. That's 8 auto attacks. Prey's real annoyed about this. Trying to keep that.
If there was a Jhin, you just have to leave it. You're like, all right, you got me. I'm countered. Hard countered.
I think you just emote and leave.
Graves is the same also, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, man. I'm
the
so
quadra
glad.
reload.
I'm so glad that Graves is gone. The amount of junglers you see trying to clear wards, it was depressing. Shyvana's on the other hand. Please come back, because that's the most fun.
Side lane Jax has certainly made a comeback.
Yeah.
Not too worried about the Syndra.
The 1-3-1 with the Realm Warp to possibly go and help out anyone that gets ganged up on. There's the call of the Forge God, but all of the buttons are missing, and Prey, once again, Dance and Shoes working out. Spirit goes pretty fast, but can't actually get anything at all. They do get a flash from Prey, but it's a consolation prize more than anything else.
They're just desperate to press R on one single target, but
let us do our buttons.
The only target who will oblige is Khan. Everyone else disengages. They control the enemy red side jungle, so they can cut more aggressively, whereas Afreeca have to be more respected. Now we're seeing the Baron started. Khan on interrupt duty.
Yeah, he's going to get a double knock up there. That's pretty cute. But look at all the damage.
Wait for the Realm
onto
Warp.
this Baron, and the amount of healing that's available from Gorilla. In they go. Khan straight into the backline as the Glacial Fissure only gets 1 knock up. Khan is going to be able to go golden and survive this one, but no one from Afreeca is dead just yet, just low as far as health bars. Spirit doesn't want to go home just yet. That'd be a free Baron, but Khan wants to teleport back into this fight.
Those are the struggles of the true 5v5, though. They have no more force after the initial ult goes down, so they don't actually force any damage onto the carries of Afreeca. Almost Khan died because Focus Fire from 4-item Syndra and Varus will take anyone down. Kingzone are able to go back to the waves. That is really their benefit so far this game.
Also just so much control of this area at the same time. Keen tries to get a face check happening, but Brambleback will be secured, I believe, by Kramer, so that's good. Get it onto the AD carry, get some control, and Afreeca bullying their way back in because Khan decided not to use the teleport. Just keep those split pushing options available. And
Afreeca have double Warmarks complete on Keen and Spirit, so they are able to face check, to force, and then back away better. Down the side of Kingzone, they'll need Taric to heal people up, so they don't have any Warmarks complete on their side. Now, if they had control of the Baron pit, that would be a really big advantage to Afreeca, because you could start Baron, peel away, and get the Warmarks healing. These Warmarks are actually really only for face checking for wards, rather than necessarily starting the Baron, because having map control, where they control the river and even the blue side jungle of Kingzone, looks almost impossible with how the first 40 minutes of the game has gone.
Banner Command is going to continue being really frustrating. You can see Kane trying to deal with it on the bottom side.
The Surratt portal might be next.
Oh, God. He's got a Raptor Cloak.
Yeah!
Does that also build into Ohm Wrecker? I really hope
yes,
it does Ohm Wrecker instead. That would be, like, the real meta thing to do.
The Ohm Wrecker build path changed, like, I would say 6 months ago.
Did anyone notice?
But you know, the patch notes for that one, you guys wonder. You do index on different parts of the patch notes. The Ohm Wrecker parts and the Teemo parts, the ones you don't look at.
Yeah, or you try and ignore them.
Like Xin Zhao got nerfed on the latest patch. I kind of just giggled and went back to my normal day.
Yeah, I look for the Aatrox buffs though.
Just in case?
Just in case.
Future-proofing yourself?
Yeah. Because he's just hilarious. As soon as he comes back, you know that everything's going to be right in the world. Khan's actually looking for a movement over. He's going to get pinged out. Zombie Ward is going to be available for Afreeca Freecs.
Is he going to look for a 1v1 though? Keen is available.
Oh. Is he going to get Velo's breathed on?
Hey, 18% of max health is a lot.
I know. He doesn't even have a Warmogs. So that's permanent damage on the Khan. You have to remember.
Hey, it's probably going to go through most of his shield, right?
Yeah. The Soul Furnace, as it were. He does have good ability though.
That's the 1v1's happening on the minimap. There it is!
Oh my goodness, Kane going forward. We'll see whether he manages to actually get the stun to the wall. No, we're going to move over to BDD farming on the top side, which is probably the more exciting. but I had to give it to you.
I like how the other options were just farming. And they were like, this is probably more interesting.
This is way better. Oh, God. Well, see whether he actually uses that Unstoppable Onslaught. Instead, no, he's just going to yell at Tucson. He did something wrong, apparently.
Right now, the biggest action is who will claim this Spire next to the enemy red.
Who's going to get the wards in the right spot?
No, the Spire is actually the most action.
Yeah, that's probably true.
They forced out Khan's shield. That's pretty cool.
Hey, press W.
Guys, it's sliding scales of excitement when Sion and Ornn are in the front line. Especially because this Ornn refuses to ever ultimate.
Yeah, Gorilla megaphoning creeps is probably more exciting as Peanut's going to get missed by Kuro. His ex-teammate not going to quite have game.
Right. No vision here.
Well, Baron's going to be going down pretty damn fast. They're probably looking for a turn more than anything. As the control ward does go over the wall. Call of the Forge God should be able to get some knockups here. Nice triple. But Peanut and Prey still going to be absolutely fine on the bottom side of this fight. It's still battle lines being drawn. No QSS is used. No great targets here for Spirit to grab. And as long as Gorilla has the Cosmic Radiance available, there are options here for Kingzone, but they're split. And this tower is going to go down for free. So Afreeca grabbing something against the flow of play.
That was well engineered by Afreeca. They had Ornn just control the choke there, not allow the three members to react. Everyone else took the long way. They take the mid lane tower. Good move by Afreeca. Now they can try to control the space. They still have 4 of their pick ultimates available, and Ornn's, even after the nerfs, still going to be low cooldown. Kuro wants to get a buy-in. He is at 5 items, so while we've joked and snickered about how little impact he's had on this game, the one shot onto most of the members.
He will always be Syndra, that's true.
Yeah. We kind of have to assure you guys of that because you haven't really seen it.
Yeah. Maybe that's his ploy though. Now, sitting on 30%.
Would you say
just from items as far as CDR?
So you're saying the unseen damage is the deadliest?
I am. Have you seen Kuro's Zed?
I have seen Sion ultimate.
Oh yeah. Choo-choo.
Can he clear the whole wave just by R-ing it? Let's find out.
Oh, the dream!
Damn, that's a lot of damage.
Just obliterated the Banner of Command as well.
Probably should have shouted about that moment, but there was no Ornn on the screen.
Oh yeah. It wasn't a 1v1. Unless he was 1v1.
All right, now Afreeca going to press their buttons on the Baron. They have the Warmogs, remember.
Not doing very much damage to it. No. True Shot Barrage is just going to glide past. Prey getting a lot of free damage in though. Skrilla keeps him healthy. Scout of the Week not going to come through with any stuns. And Afreeca were just seeing whether the Baron takes damage when they hit it as well. Forward going to be noticed, but Afreeca too scared to actually clear that one out. Elder Dragon is available. Kingzone moving straight towards it. Could it be just the 2-man, I wonder, as Throp Portal is indeed picked up by Khan.
They're trying to control this area, making it hard for Afreeca to react. The speed of this Elder Dragon's not going to be that fast. They start the fight.
Yeah, big knock-up onto Gorilla, who's just going to be taken out. No options there whatsoever as the Call of the Forge God comes in. Everyone flashing over the wall. They're collapsing onto Kingzone. It's a couple already as Tucson. He's going extremely low. Prey picks him off with a really well-placed Q. But they don't have much of a front line remaining. BDD, you can see, doesn't tank a lot of damage very well. But Prey actually want to go 1v1. No Impale available as Spirit does take the correct direction. And the Q's going to be missed, but a good fight for Afreeca, even if they lose the Elder.
Yeah, Afreeca had a lot of a head start there. They got 2 kills. They may not have worried about the fact that they gave up the Elder. Could just run to the Baron and try to take a big objective. We're getting to the point in the game where giving your life to contest an objective for a Smite Steal is not worth it. Afreeca guessed there was going to be at least 2 people on the Dragon and went for the fight. This time Gorilla, even with a QSS, unable to ultimate. No Cosmic Radiance available in the fight, but after it was all said and done, notice the fact that actually Sion, when dead, did huge damage. He did eventually die. He still has not respawned. Baron was started and aborted by Kingzone.
Yep, no teleport available from Khan here as well, but it is for the Afreeca Freecs.
Fallen very low.
He's going to make his way in. Yeah, is Peanut going to get there? No, he's not. That's going to be Spirit locking it down. Peanut will sacrifice himself. Derek's Gage, not enough of a shield, and Call the Forge God just for the follow-up. Prey's going to get evaporated, and BDD running for the hills. Cosmic Radiance ain't radiating much at the moment, and Afreeca, we knew they had the capacity to get picks, but they've got the Baron as... Okay, that was an interesting realm warp.
Yeah, BD wanted to get into the minion wave to stop this from happening, but I mentioned, do you go for the Smite Steal at 43 minutes? Peanut usually gets them. He says yes. They're going to lose, at minimum, an inhibitor. How much do Afreeca want? They have 5 members strong.
Yeah, 30 seconds on everyone from Kingzone.
Do you try and end the game?
I reckon you potentially could if you are going to be able to push forward. They don't have a Banner of Command minion available just yet to do the majority of the tanking.
Raw the Slayer's strong here. You can push away 1 minion, but I think Afreeca want to end.
Yep, they're going for it. Hail of Arrows comes down. BDD in trouble, but avoids a lot of the damage. The Demolish proc is going to be huge, but look at the damage out of the Afreeca Freecs. They're tearing through these turrets. Khan just wants to get the minions away from it. BDD doing a decent job to do so. As the zombie Khan comes out, just trying to beat the heck out of this Scorpion.
I think Afreeca have done it.
Forge God. Yeah, the Nexus is exposed, and Afreeca, despite the rest of the game, come out victorious.
You see the struggle of a 1-3-1 comp with low engage actually being able to close the game. They weren't able to do it. It looked good, but they made the decision at the end to contest the Baron Smite, and then 2 other members go down, and the game is decided. It undoes all the good work in the early game by Kingzone DragonX, and it does feel like a bit of a pinching by Afreeca Freecs. They are able to win game 1.
Yeah, absolutely loved the composition out of them, but it just didn't look like it was working throughout that entire game. To be honest, I mean, there was the couple of picks towards the end, which we have to admit was exactly what the comp was supposed to do, but it just felt like Kingzone were too far ahead. They were in too much control, had too much vision, and then Afreeca just made the right calls.
All those things were true, but it only matters if you can actually set up the base break, if you set up an inhibitor and use the 1-3-1. The difference from Sion to Gnar, which was the trade we had in this Rise comp, is that Sion doesn't have any options to go offensive in the side lane. He wasn't able to get any turret damage done as a melee tank. So they delayed the game to a point where a couple of mistakes, a couple of fortuitous picks, and remember, they were a pick factory on the side of Afreeca. The picks led to kills, led to the game ending kind of under the nose of Kingzone DragonX.
Yeah, the fact that the picks were so staggered as well, the fact that there was CC remaining after that first one comes in, they snowball it through, the fact that Prey was taken down towards the end. Just all of these things working out for the Afreeca Freecs. Must be feeling pretty chuffed. The fact that they stole that victory away from Kingzone DragonX, a formidable opponent that was still looking so strong. As they make their way in for the second series of the week, and potentially now looking down the barrel of 2 losses in a row.
Something no one could have predicted is that either of these teams would go down 2-0. We're close to one happening, Atlas.
Yeah, just ridiculous. We are going to have a short break, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, can Afreeca Freecs follow up what we thought looked like the impossible halfway through that game? We'll see after a short break.